but you are being trained mentally to accept your losses by blaming yourself. Instead of blaming, the lead sources or like the comps or like all this other stuff that's actually ruining your business and stressing out your life, you're looking in the mirror telling yourself you're not good enough because you're in the wrong system. And I think that right there should be more than enough for anybody to make the switch.
Pleasure to have you on, Melissa. I appreciate you for joining us this morning.
Sure.
Very important that we recognize you for, not only your efforts, but your performance and, who you are, where you've come from, and the kind of impact that you've had on this organization as a whole. So typically the way we start is, go over a quick theme to set the tone, give everyone some insight. If everyone want to pull out their, notes, start pulling your camera, start want to, put stuff on your story, get people in here, that'd be great. We'll go over a theme, go over your background, and then get right into it. So, theme of today's conversation, breaking free, because you were number one in captive, okay, to uncapped union dominance here. Just give them a little bit of background insight. Obviously you have 6 years of insurance experience. I believe more, I think it's like 6 to 7 more. We're going to 7th year now.
Yeah.
Specializing in union lease in particular. Number one union agent at your previous company. Can't say the name. Can I say the name? I don't know. Someone's gonna PR me. Yeah, probably not. Okay, all good. You blinked twice. Okay, that's all I know. And then you had multiple 50K months with a peak of $105,000 of production. Is that in 1 month?
In 1 month, yeah.
At the practice company?
Yes.
If I on accident say the name, can you guys please beep it or something? 'Cause I know I come from there too, so like I know how you feel. But that's insane. 105K off your own pen there is basically like an equivalent to 200K in a month off your own pen here. Because it's so much harder, But
Hmm.
that's wild. We'll definitely get into that. Uh, Talk to me about this though. Did I nail it? Did I nail everything or did I miss anything? Is there anything else you want to add to that or?
I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty good start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me this. Walk me through how you first got started in the insurance industry in the first place. What's your background? What got you into the space? Let's talk about it. Let's humanize the conversation.
Yeah. So I guess getting into the insurance space then versus now is completely different. Like now there's a lot of people wanting to get into the space because they do see the success that comes from it. Everything's virtual now, telesales. Back when I started, it was door to door knocking, and just, figuring it out. I guess for me, I didn't really have in my mind that I wanted to start in sales. I actually had just graduated with my bachelor's in marketing. I spent so much money on college and spent a lot of time doing that. And I guess what just did it for me was the first job I tried to do. I just felt like it was really undercompensated for all the work that I did. And then I just got a call one day from the insurance company. And I was like, hey, you know what? This sounds really good. Let me see if I can, if I can do this. And so, starting out, as everybody does, there are ups and downs in the business. It's way harder then and over there for sure. But, eventually I was able to just kind of figure it out. And once you figure out a business like this one, I mean, it's very difficult to want to go back. So for me, the reason why I stayed with insurance, first, I found my passion in helping people all the way around, whether that's agents, whether that's running a team, families, there's a lot that comes with it, but not only that, obviously the financial compensation is unmatched. So, that's what kind of had me stick with the business regardless of any adversity that happens. And, now we're here. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the quick little
Beautiful.
background.
Beautiful. Similar sort of background to most, I'd say, we call it the practice company because obviously that is where, it's a great opportunity. Honestly, maybe you can shed some light on this too. I guess my philosophy is like there's no such thing as like good or bad organizations. It really just comes down to like what fits you best, right? Because there's companies out there where like you have to bring in your friends and your family, and you're selling your friends and family. And that's how their business model works. And these companies are also multi-million, billion-dollar companies. There have to be people there that are actually getting paid too, no?
Yeah.
And then there are also companies where you get so-called free leads, similar to where we came from.
Mhm.
And, you can make a great deal of income. That's $1 billion company as well. Some people are getting paid over there. But I guess the easiest sort of avenue or route to take in the industry is the broker side. Can we agree there?
I will say yes. Couple of things, coming into the insurance business, especially if you're a new agent. So for me personally, I did switch over. I will never be negative and I will never say anything negative because that is my story and that's where I come from. And while it was a lot harder and it was a lot of referral business, and yes, the leads were free, but were trash, like there are different things, right? But here's the thing, guys, like wherever you're at, you just need to figure out the system and how to do it. Obviously, with the other company, it was extremely difficult and it can be difficult for most people. But, you got to figure out how to lean on yourself because even with all of that, I was still able to hit multiple clubs of, 50K, 69, 105. So it's doable. It's just a lot harder. And kind of like what you said, Ion, for here, once we kind of talk about what I, got into to hitting this month, which I was super excited about, there is a huge difference. But it's not that it can't get done. The job is always going to get done because the agent, the representative, you're going to get it done one way or another. This is just the broker space is just the way to go because 100%, guys, like it's way better. Okay. So that's what I will say on that end.
Beautifully said. No, I couldn't agree anymore. Well, I'm kind of curious. I know you talked about refs, but like you obviously are having a great deal of success on the union sort of side here. You also came from union-based leads prior to. So what at the prior company, what made you focus on union leads in particular? Just out of curiosity. Was that your bread and butter? Because I know they also have like other
Yeah,
like sort of
they do. There's a lot of different markets. I guess for me, it's more. I just like the style. There's a different style of sales with every lead type,
Mhm,
right? So for me, I like the business kind of advisor side of it. So I like to talk to the union members. I think that's why I do so well with them because I kind of just cut the fluff, get to the point. That's what they like. They're making money. And, if they like you, they're buying. You collect their family, help them, and, you're able to not only, help them and strive in a market, but this is a good market to really hit higher numbers because when I started, I wasn't doing the unions. Actually, guys, I was scared to do them. I was texting Harold like, bro, like I don't even know what to say. Even though I come from a union background, it's different here. The different products, the different apps, the different everything. So you got to figure out a different style. And over there, it was very scripted and it was just script up. Like I mastered that script. But what I realized here, and the good thing about it is like you don't have to be a script. You can really just lock into your lead type, understand their needs, understand how they move. And after you understand this, you're able to provide the service that they need so that you can, of course, get to the close, help them, and make your money.
mm, okay. And so I guess what I'm hearing you say, and for the over like larger audience, these folks are their income's much higher, so the premium by default is going to be higher, correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So these
They're
are
not
large.
waiting for the first of the month. They're
Mm-hmm.
usually good to go.
Mm,
Um, unless what most agents do is they say, "Hey, I loved what you posted in the Discord about they, draft within 24 to 48 hours." I feel like a lot of agents just try to give that freedom, but when you give that freedom, now they do want it for the first or they do need it for a later date. But these members, if they're actively working, they're not on Social Security, there should be no reason why they're being drafted on the first of next month because they got the money in their bank account. Just given that they're again specifically type
mm-hmm.
primarily, mostly.
No doubt, no doubt. I think that's going to be attractive for a lot of people, in terms of like wanting like push for these leads because people would think, oh, it's as simple as just bigger numbers. I got to get to that, but I'd honestly tie like this kind of lead type to like IUL kind of leads too. IUL leads are so hard to come around, they're expensive as hell. But people are kind of scared of IUL leads because of the fact that, yeah, the premium is higher, but you have to know how to structure an IUL properly. Personally, myself, I don't even know how to do that still. But, structure an IUL properly, have the right conversations, stuff like that. What are some like things that people need to keep in mind when getting on these leads and knowing how to communicate with these people? I know you mentioned, cutting the fluff and all that jazz. It's amazing, but like, what does that look like? Would you recommend this lead to a new agent coming in? And if so, what kind of advice would you give them to be successful at it?
Would I recommend this lead type to a new agent coming in? No. I
Mm,
think that new agents coming in should practice a little bit with other lead types first or whatever. Just get into the flow of knowing how to talk to people and try to set them up with with what their need is. The reason why I say that is because a lot of these conversations, while they are higher AP, you really need to know what you're talking about. It has to have a certain flow to it, and you really need to know your stuff. I think the main reason why I was able to, have a big month is because I know how to talk to them and I know how to navigate through different products and I know how to navigate through different apps and carriers, which is why I personally, I mean, I don't recommend it, but you definitely can. I mean, just know that there's going to be adversity. Just like I had adversity with it when I started back in, I think when Harold gave them to me, it was in December. I mean, I didn't know the IULs much. I didn't know certain products. So what I was doing was failing multiple times. And when especially new agents, when new agents feel like they're failing over and over and over again, especially in a new business, that can really put a bad taste in their mouth to almost want to give up on something. But it's really a lack of knowledge that you obviously don't know. So you're not expected to know, but you will get to know. And for these ones, again, higher AP equals you need to have more knowledge because if you don't, these are high ticket paying people. So if things don't make sense, if things are not lining up, they're gonna turn into a thinker or an I'm gonna do it later kind of person. Personally, from my experience, is what I realized for that.
under- Understood. Okay. Well, let's talk about your day to day too. At your peak, right? Even like right now, I mean, you're cracking crazy business over there. You're also cracking crazy business over here. Um, it's just unlimited here. You're writing 50 to 100K a month. What does your day to day look like?
Yeah, so
And hold on, quick question. Sorry. Do you have a team or you solely focus on yourself?
we're floating, we're chilling, we're building slowly.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I have
Good.
a
Good.
couple of people, but
Good.
I think so. What was the question? Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just asking like on a day-to-day basis, like what did it look like when you're cracking like 50 to 100K a month? Like even right now, like you just cracked like 70, 80K in 1 month. What does your day-to-day look like typically?
It's very structured, right?
Mm.
First, I
Okay.
go get 6 shots of espresso. I really do though. I have my
Yeah.
coffee, so I need a little something to get my day started. So yep, I'm getting my coffee. That's first thing. And the day to day, it doesn't start when you log on to Zoom. Your day to day starts literally when you wake up. How do you want your day to look like? Do you do something in the morning before you lock in so that you feel like you're doing something for yourself, like maybe going to the gym, maybe doing whatever you need to do to feel good. So that you need to feel good to start momentum for the day. That's how I start my momentum for the day. That's why every time I jump on, they're like, "How are you so excited?" Well, I'm drinking 6 hours of espresso. I probably just went to the gym and I'm ready like to lock in on my day. And when I do that, right? So the way the structure is every single day when I'm on. So for example, this month I was doing like a 9 to 6, 9 to 7, Monday through Friday. Um, and on those mornings where I don't have meetings, I am locked in, literally just dialing the entire day, working on how I'm going to get either a flip first, like a on the spot appointment, how I'm going to set up for later that day. And if for any reason they can't do it, then we're going to set up for the next day. I'm not going to give them like, oh, well, and when I do this, I'm not just like, oh, well, when are you free? I'm busy too, right? So I think I do have certain traits that I have carried over here because yes, we advise, but we're busy. And if you're not busy and you're looking at your schedule, you're like, well, I have 2 people. Like, what do you mean I'm busy? Well, you need to start feeling like you're busy so you can get busy, right? You need to have that kind of energy. So for me, if on the days I have two, I'm already on the phones dialing from the morning. I'm sending out campaign texts. I'm dialing out. I'm trying to do that flip same day, next day. By doing this, I am not on Instagram. I am not on social media. I'm not doing other things. I'm not actually even having too many personal conversations on the Zoom. I think a lot of people can't, I'm in the policy room and there's a lot of people in there. And so you'll notice I'm not talking that much. I'm really not. I'm not having too many conversations about things that have, if it's not producing, uh, what do you want to, what do I want to say? If it's
Just
not
income
something for
generation.
activity for the day, income-based conversations, I'm not having those conversations during that time, especially during prime time. And I get it, the only kind of conversations, and as a leader, and I've done this a long time, like during the field hours, it really should only be about the last person you talk to and how you can get better for the next one. And then everything else can get dealt with like at the end of the night or the beginning in the morning, right? Because I am so strict on that. And I think because I'm so strict on my activity is why I'm able to generate, I go into the day with like 8 to 10 appointments scheduled. Some days I had 15 appointments scheduled. I am blowing people up like all day. And by doing that, you're going to feel yourself rolling into them. Now, the next thing that I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit is going to be kind of how to set the appointments because we could set up appointments, right? But are they going to show up?
Mhm.
And that's another thing that goes into it. So really, I just set a schedule for myself. I build momentum for it. I lock in. I don't do anything else the entire day. Um, and then I literally just roll. I roll into it every single day, even on the days where it feels slower, you get tired. You know what? Like the month is gonna end.
Mhm.
So where do you want to be at the end of this month?
Mhm. Mhm.
All these feelings, all these emotion. There's a lot that goes into life and in this business in general. But if you're really locked in on the goals that you have for yourself, there should be nothing, and I really mean that, nothing that should deter you from that goal. You can deal with it later. You know what I mean? Like that, I schedule everything. If I have something personal going on, I'm scheduling that for the end of the night. I'm like, okay, I'll deal with my feelings then because right now, not only do I owe it to myself, but I owe it to the clients that I'm on the phone with and the agents that are listening to me to give it 100% every single time. And if you do 100% every single time, you're going to get the result that you want 100% of the time.
Mhm.
Hopefully, right?
No
Because
doubt.
you did everything that you can.
No doubt. I want to delve into like, appointment show rates, the word tracks that you're using, to get your appointments to show up because we'll get into that here momentarily. But I think you also touched on a really important thing too, which is like knowing, getting in the flow, right? You talked about momentum. We talk about this all the time, right? People like use these words like mindset, momentum, all these things. Between you and me, I hate that stuff, man. It's like, let's talk about objectively, what does that look like? How long does it take to be able to get to that point? How can you relate to that? Honestly, like you can compare like getting in that flow to like kind of like fighting, yeah. I don't know if anyone here trains or whatever you do in life. Maybe going to the gym. In the fighting world, like they have this thing where like new people come into the gym, uh, and they start going to sparring for the first time and they start flinching, flinching, flinching. It takes 6 months to get over the flinch, right? At least 6 months to a year to start getting off a flinch so you can start moving. My question to you is, how long did it take for you, or how long do you think it takes the average agent to be able to get into that sort of flow state? That flow state of being able to like, okay, I gotta screw you on the phone. Okay, next one. Instead of sitting there and dwelling on it, and then knowing that okay, I got screwed in this deal, I'm going to the next thing. How long do you think it takes on average for people to do that? And that's question number one. And what can they do to expedite that process?
Everything I say is so direct, guys. So basically for this, I don't feel like it should take too long for somebody to commit to themselves that hey, this is going to be part of the business. So you join the business, you know what's going to happen. Like people tell you about the adversity. No one's hiding anything, right? That's what I love about here too. No one hides anything. But mentally, you should just check yourself and just continue every day to just, if negative things happen, you have two choices. Either you're going to dwell on it or you're going to be like, okay, next, I'm new in this business. I'm going to figure out, on the next call, what's this, what's a little thing I could tweak to make it better. I don't think this has to be a dragged out process where it needs to take 2, 3, 4, 5 months to be okay. I think it's just the knowing of this is what comes with the business, being okay with it and staying strong throughout all of that. So that's number one. I don't think there should be that long of a time. It's a decision you're going to make today and right now. And when you make that decision, those hits of adversity shouldn't be as much because you know what to expect.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
That for me, that's what I think for that one.
Okay. Okay. Well, I also, again, going back to the point of you joining, our organization, at what point do you feel like you were being capped or like limited? Because you were still right. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand. Okay, because like you were still writing a lot of business too. So there's got to be some sort of disconnect there. What happened there? What like at what point were you like capped, limited, whatever, to get you to come over here?
So when you start this business, you don't know what you're capable of. You don't know if you're going to succeed. You don't know, you see all these numbers, you see all these people, you're like, I want to be just like them. I want to be just like that. This is the kind of life that I want. So you're already deciding on that. I joined the business. Mind you, it's a lot, it's referrals heavy as well. So you are generating a lot of business for that specific company versus yourself. Okay. And I guess it gets to a point to where after you hit multiple clubs, you're a top producer, you're getting awards, all of this stuff, but the compensation isn't, it's not where it needs to be. And the leads, right? Like every single push month, guys, I would be crying. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'd be crying stressed out. I would be like, how am I gonna get like this next lead full? Like, great, I just had a $20,000 week, but like, how am I gonna do this again? And if you don't have a good referral book of business, you're basically gonna crash. Like, it's very hard to ever hit a club unless you know how to do that. Cool thing with here, and the reason why I switched is I wanted more, I didn't want to be capped on product. I didn't want to be capped on leads. I didn't want swapped out leads that, I have to generate into something. Now that makes me a stronger agent for sure because I know how to get it, from basically the hardest of the hard, but I'm grateful for it because now it's just like, the transition moving here was very easy for me in a sense to where I already knew all that stuff. I just had to figure out how am I going to apply it here to, FFL. And honestly, like with our team and I was looking at my numbers. I mean, I hit this with mainly just leads,
Mm.
not referrals. I collected referrals. I think it said like 17%, which is a very low number for me because usually over there it's like 100, like 90% referrals. You got 10% of the leads that they give you, you're selling, right? So it's a completely, so it's very stressful too. It's so different. But here, when I looked at those numbers, I was like, oh my gosh, like it just needs to click. And once it clicks, I mean, just like you said, Ion, like 100,000 there could be an equivalent of 200,000 here or like 150 here, just because of the freshness of the leads, the products that we're able to review with clients, and we're just, just everything and being able to offer people a product, even if they're currently, having really major health issues, which would be I'd hate to have to get off the phone and not close or not help a family because now I can't sell them because of this product. Like it was very frustrating. So that's for me, it was just leads. It was obviously money. I knew I could do it. So then I found my worth and I was like, yo, like I think I could go do something big somewhere else, have more control in the broker space. And so far, so good. Now, I'm not going to say it's been perfect, but I will say that once you learn how to do it, it just becomes like free flowing. Like I wasn't the best at unions when I first started in December, but I will say because I was able to sit down with like, God, I don't even know. I talked to maybe 70 families or 80 families this month. Let's talk about February. So the more reps that you can get in, the more that you're going to learn. And I still learned this month. I learned different things. So just being able to have that untapped potential with our lead sources here, I think makes the biggest difference. That's why I moved, honestly, and income.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you, are you making more money and keeping more money?
Oh
Cool.
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool. That's all we need to know. Because, and I want to turn this into like some crazy sort of promo, but let's just air this out because we are like I don't think anyone knows this. This is like the first time anyone this information is going to be found out. We are the only brokerage in the entire country with union leads. Like so, at this point, it's like a no-brainer. Because I remember even at the practice company, they do such a good job of like I don't know how he believed it for like a year. Like, oh, they take the chargebacks out of your bank account, and yeah, this person happened to this happened to that. It's like it's insane. Like you literally have to go out of your way to do that. But now it's almost like a no-brainer because okay, like you said, you can protect literally anybody. No trials, no declines, any of that stuff. Right? People with congestive heart failure, cancer, kidney problems, some of the worst health conditions, they are getting approved. Okay. Comp is higher. Comp is higher. Same leads, same script. Okay, I understand like all the other stuff, but same leads, same script. It's like I don't like how can you not? Now it's the same lead, same script. And lastly, you can literally do it from wherever you want in the entire world because again, we're probably like one of the only agencies, even FFL, who are actually real virtual organization with like over 100 people on. We have real staff online every single day, Monday through Friday. So it's honestly it's insane. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a no-brainer. It's honestly a no-brainer. Like how can you say it's just I don't know. I don't get it. But regardless, I mean, what kind of I feel you though because the same thing happened to me. But what concerns or hesitations did you have about moving into the brokerage model? And then what changed immediately when you stepped into the model?
I mean, I guess the only hesitation was I'm gonna leave something that, I was at for a very long time.
Mhm.
And when you're doing so good in a company, it's like, it kind of almost becomes your identity for real. Like I felt like, that was my identity. I was, that company's just, that was all I had. That's what made me grow in life. So stepping away from all of that was extremely scary because I'm like, am I gonna be okay here? Am I gonna be able to do well with these leads? Am I going to be able to take on something completely new and just start over? Because again, being in a space for 6, 7 years and then starting all over again, it feels like you're starting all over. You're just continuing your journey, to be honest. It's not really starting all over, but those were really the hesitations that I had. And when I did get in, yeah, it was different. Things will be different. But that's the only thing I was really hesitant upon because, when I made the decision and I talked to Harold, I mean, I was all in. So I just knew it was going to be okay. And that's just, I've known Harold for a long time. We started together. Funny enough, he hired me there. So we've been through it and he knows exactly how I am. So I feel like he was a really big support for just like helping my mental be okay because it's just like anybody that starts something new and you're leaving comfortability, even though that comfortability is extremely exhausting and a lot of work, you still feel nervous. But honestly, that was it. Just feeling like, hey, can I do this? And then slowly realizing that, of course, I can do this. This is pretty easy. Like, it's actually easier than I thought it was going to be in the beginning. Like, so, and there's a lot of systems here that, we specifically have that they don't like inbound systems, first of all. That's how I started. I didn't start on unions, I started on inbounds, which are cool. Then we got into the unions, and that I think it was not even that long ago that that unions were really rolled out in the first place. But how cool is it that a lead type is being rolled out like 3 months ago, and we have agents and even like myself just hitting these big numbers on it fresh, like every single Sunday I'm like, damn, look at all these leads coming into my account, like fresh. They're not shuffled, they're not coming from anybody's account. I'm not gonna be, chasing them all day. Like it's so freaking cool and I love that. So just, the being able to have these different types of leads regardless, anybody here that's new, just worry about the things that you need to do, what your uplines are telling you, like, hey, focus on this, focus on that, regardless of the lead type, because at the end of the day, the workflow, it's going to be the same. So if you're able to just lock into that, you shouldn't be hesitant because for real, this is the best, honestly. Like I can say that. Um,
Beautiful.
because
Okay.
this month was crazy, but also it wasn't that crazy.
Mhm.
Like when I work 8 hours a day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. There's people out here working 12, 15 hours a day. I'm just, showing up 9 to 6, 9 to 7, whatever it is, and I'm able to produce these kind of numbers. And honestly, like if I would have put in more, if I didn't take certain days off, or if I didn't take off a Saturday, which, if you want to hit a big number, you probably should be working the 6 days a week. Like that number would have been even more than what it was. And that's just goes to show that the company, the business, we have the best type of leads because that would be extremely difficult to do off of pure leads and just a little bit of referrals. If anything, it would be flipped.
Hmm. Okay. We did a whole bunch of hoorah right now, you and I. Let's talk about the downsides. Think of something. Think of something. Downsides, because we want to play devil's advocate a little bit, right? It can't be all so glorious. There has to be some sort of downside of being on the brokerage side that, you know, we have to talk about. Because I know what people are gonna think. It's like, oh yes, they're just trying to pull me in. This is a bunch of hoorah. This is what it. Let's talk about the downsides. I personally can't think of any, but maybe you can. I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I'm
I
just
mean,
projecting.
downsides in this business in general, right? I mean, I can't just say there's like there are downsides, but I guess I'm so used to it, it's hard for me to pinpoint the downs. because there's so many ways to get around the downs that I'm not worried about them.
Okay.
Right? Like, and that's why I'm talking about the lead time. I'm not trying to sell anybody on this job. It is just what it is, or on this agency. It is just what it is. But those are main things when you join an agency. Number one, is there structure in this agency? Two, like, do you have good leads? At the end of the day, you could have a bunch of problems, but leads are going to solve them, especially the fresh ones, because you're going to be able to just get through it. Couple downsides, I mean, yeah, chargebacks happen. Just do better quality business,
Yeah.
and then you'll have just a small amount of chargeback. You just outright it, like not every family's going to be the nicest to you. If they answer the phone and they're yelling at you, don't take it personal. Like at the end of the day, how many spam calls do you get a day? They're not mad at you. They're just mad in general. So don't take it like that. Don't catch an attitude right away. Just, oh, okay. Like just kind of act a little confused and try to bring them down because there's nothing personal. It's not personal to you. They're used to a bunch of salespeople, but how are you going to come at that situation a little bit differently? So you're not, at the end, they feel bad and they will apologize to you for even talking to you like that. Because I know a lot of people are not used to this phone, like, getting yelled at on the phone and things like that. If you want to say a downside, that is, I guess, one of them, but that's just any,
That's universal.
yeah, any business. But
Yeah.
it's just about knowing how to get around things. It's when you're here, you want to think about just be more solution oriented than just dwelling on what is going on in that specific moment. Like you could do an amazing job on a call and then for some reason, or you could think you did an amazing job on a call, and then for some reason they're kind of like, yeah, no, we need to think about it. They hit you with that. You don't get it. Now you're frustrated. You're like, you maybe want to stop dialing. You maybe want to just take a 2 minute break, 5 minute break, and get onto it. The longer that you're here, the easier it can get. There are days where I'm just like, not gonna lie, guys, I toss stuff around. We get frustrated. As passionate people, we get a little frustrated. But, as long as you just stay locked in, none of that should be really a problem. You just flow on to the next one. So I can't really talk about a lot of negatives because truly there's really not much. That's
Well,
just adversity in the business in
that's
general.
fine. Let's talk about your process then, because then you talked about that a little bit, and earlier you were talking about appointments. So let's get back to that.
Yeah.
A point, because I want to know like what your actual process is going through these leads, like from first contact to close. And so first things first, show rate. What would you say the average show rate is on appointments on these leads? Out of
Show
like
rate
10 appointments, how many are going to show up?
at least half
You specific, okay.
or
So
a little
let's
more. Me
okay, that's insane.
specifically?
Well, that sounds like 50% is crazy. So out of 10, 5 are gonna show up. What kind of let's do a role play. Role play with me real quick. How are we gonna I know I'll do a union. Call me, I'm SEIU right now. Come on, do it. Let's do it. You just let's say I don't got time right now.
You don't have time?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I hate doing this.
That's okay. Close your eyes, you can do it. You can turn around and do it. If you don't want to, we can move on.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem, Ayani. The only reason why I was calling is because we received your request here. Most members, they fill out the card because they're looking for some more permanent insurance outside of their employer because they realize it goes away. Was that kind of the reason? Was that the reason why you were, did you fill this out in the first place?
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. So it doesn't take too long. It takes me about 15 minutes to review your eligibility and see about your qualifications. Do you have some time we can get that knocked out right now?
No, I don't. Like I said, my wife and I make decisions like this together, and I'm not home. I'm at work.
All right, very good. Not a problem. So I have a couple slots this evening available. What time do you usually finish work?
5 p.m.
5? All right, let me take a look here. Give me one moment. All right, so it looks like I have a 6 p.m. or a 7:30 p.m. available for this evening. Which one of those would work the best for you both?
6:30, 6 p.m., 6 p.m.
All right, not a problem. So I'll go ahead and get you scheduled for the 6 p.m. Now you are going to receive a confirmation and a reminder for the appointment. Please be sure to confirm on the reminder for me, just out of respect for all the other members. And then we'll quickly get you guys taken care of at that time.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so you build suspense, exclusivity. This goes back to what you were saying earlier about you being busy. So you put yourself on a pedestal to make them respect you more instead of you being hungry and like, pushing for the appointment, being a pleaser and telling them, yeah, I'll do it at your time. 5 p.m. Yes, do it. So you tell them, actually, let me check my calendar. And you don't obviously you don't count it as an appointment if they hang up the phone on you before then, right? Okay, cool. Good. I would hope not,
Yeah,
but
very good. They have to be solidified, but yes.
beautiful. Okay, so you have to you give them 2 times, you give them a time, and then you tell them about the call to action, which is and I can imagine your CRM, you're scheduling it in your CRM as well,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then the confirmation text goes out, you already reminded them to respond, and the show rate goes up just because the fact that they remember the call to action, correct?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I
So,
think a big thing on that though,
mm,
you told me you're busy.
mhm,
Oh, okay, I'll call you back later. No. Okay, not a problem. I was just calling because we received, like, literally, I acknowledge what you're saying. I'm sounding a little bit confused. I'm telling you why most people send this in, and I'm getting your yes in the beginning. I got a yes for yes, they are looking for more permanent life insurance outside of work. So, because I got the yes on what they're looking for, they're more than likely going to show up if I just make it sound real simple and quick and I'm busy,
mhm,
right? Because most people don't have time, right? They never have time for anything. No one has time for anything.
yep,
So how can I get you to make time for me and actually show up for this appointment that you requested? I have to be clear that are you looking for more permanent? Like have a little of that confusion in there.
right,
Guaranteed if they say yes, obviously show ratio will be show ratio, but you're going to have a lot more people showing up because now they're kind of already buying in to what we're about to be talking about. I'm getting the buy-in in the first 2 minutes of the phone call.
mm,
Because if not, then I don't need to have the appointment at the end of the day. I mean, I can, but that's my choice. Everybody has a choice. For me, it's kind of like, oh, you're not? Okay, well, what if they said no, for example? No, I'm not looking for permanent life insurance. Oh, well, what were you kind of thinking when you sent this in? Because most people, I'm trying to get in your head. I want to know, like, okay, so what were you thinking at that time? Were you looking to get final expenses taken care of? Was it just protecting your income? Like, I'm still digging. I'm not just taking the answer for what it is, but if they want to just completely shut me down and get off the phone, then we can do that. But I'm always going to dig a little bit more. I don't just take the no for face value. I want to know why. Why'd you send this in the first place? And I
okay,
think that piece right there in the beginning of the booking of the call does a huge thing for show ratio. Because it's one thing, okay, yeah, we got this information. Yes, yes, they confirm the state, confirm everything. All right, well, what time do you finish work? Okay, we have a 6 or a 7. You get the 6 or the 7, but like we didn't talk about you don't know that we're talking about permanent insurance. I want them to know what I'm talking about. There's certain check marks you want to kind of get to on that booking call to solidify the show ratio because that is the beginning of your sale, is the call.
Everything happens in the intro. Intro sets the tone. Mm, I want to ask this too. How's retention on these?
They're good. I mean, honestly, so far, I mean,
Because
I
you
just
did
had to
do,
make my
sorry, I'm gonna cut you. You did do final expense. So compared to, because you did inbounds before. So compared to
yeah.
final expense retention, how are these in terms of retention?
I think for retention purposes, all of us, I mean, will have fall off,
Mm,
right? But it's about the quality of business that you're producing with these calls. It's going to make the biggest difference.
hold on.
I've heard, different things here and there. Personally though, they have money, so less are falling off, but I wouldn't say final expense is still cool. Like I wouldn't say anything about it either because I feel like my retention on those was pretty good too. It's just more of a drag for me, and I'm not that patient as much as I try to practice patience. So, the retention's good because I have money.
No
So
doubt.
far I haven't really dealt with, fall off or much of it.
Okay. Well, talk to me about like unique sales process, like as a whole, like intro body close. I know we talked about appointments right now, but let's talk about intro body close. Anything in particular that's different in with these leads in terms of like word tracks, in terms of do's and don'ts, right? For example, key philosophy that we teach like, at least to teach my agents, like when it comes to MP leads, right? MP, you never want a single leg in MP, right? MP, you always want to have the spouse together. You want to make sure they're at home, pen and paper is there. MP, the income is also a little bit higher because they own a house. Never want to talk about if you know they're going to get payment, you never want to say this is going to be a payment or a payoff. You only want to talk about payment. So those are like some of the key do's and don'ts when it comes to MP. How would you relate those do's and don'ts to union leads specifically?
Yeah.
So
I
every lead
think
has different unions.
having a spouse there is very important.
Mhm.
However, Again, some of these guys, they're like, well, why does my spouse have to be there? They get all mad about it because they're breadwinners. And so for me, I'm like, hey, it's prefer what do I say? It's not required, it's preferred. Okay. So I have to say things like that because I don't want them to have a wall up already. Because some of them will make the decision, but there are different conversations I'll have on the call before I even get into it. Kind of like, okay, and so have you talked to your spouse about this before? Does she know that you're looking into it? Is this going to be something she needs to be on the call for? Or are you just taking care of this for her? So, but definitely have spouse on the call if you can, but you will get pushback sometimes because they're like, why does my spouse have to be there? I'm the one that, I'm the one that takes care of everything. So you
Right.
have to accommodate. Another thing I like to do is I like to get in their head. Like, so after we go over, these plans are state regulated, you don't have to do blood work. This is just going to be a medical check. But, can I ask you, like, what were you hoping to accomplish here on, when you filled out the card? Were you kind of like looking to do final expenses? Were you trying to replace your income? Like, what were you thinking when you sent this in? Because if they can tell me what they're thinking, I know what direction to move in. And if I know the direction to move in and I can, do it the right way, then I'm gonna get the enrollment and I'm gonna be able to close them. So I don't know about do's and don'ts. The do's is ask them what they're looking for. Don't push if they really don't want their spouse, don't push for the spouse but ask about if they've talked about it and kind of dig that way so you know how that would go. Um, and I think just really being able to offer them the right product. So you need to be product knowledgeable because if you don't, and then you offer the wrong thing, and then try to backtrack, and I've done that, it leaves it up in the air, and sometimes they just don't end up going for it at all because now you cause confusion.
Okay, I see. Well, production stands too. Production correlating the sales like level. What do you think separates like a $10,000 a month agent from someone doing 50,000 a month consistently, similar to yourself?
I think it's just asking the right questions and building value.
What are some of
I
the most common questions you would ask them in the majority of your sales, regardless of the lead type?
just you know, what are you looking to accomplish? I say that a lot because that's one of the main questions. If you can get that answer, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
Um, what are you looking to accomplish? Do you currently have any insurance outside of work? Oh, I used to. Oh, what did you have like a term policy? Like I'm asking the right questions and I'm advising with knowledge. Um, But yeah, it's really not that deep. I swear, like it's really not that deep. I feel like I don't want to say stuff that everybody already knows, right? Like, all right, is this your first time shopping? I actually don't ask them that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. That's a don't. This is your first time shopping? I don't do that. I just ask, like, do you currently have any insurance outside of work? I try to keep it more human than sales, I think. So I mean, the biggest thing to separate a 10,000 a month producer to a 50,000 producer, it's not just the questions. It's just ask the right questions, have the right process. When you're scheduling a call, make sure you're getting the yes from the beginning so that now you have something to talk about and just really be a human with them. So for me, I sound less scripted and more like an advisor. The
Mm-hmm.
more I feel like I'm scripted, the less I feel like I lose myself a little bit because now I'm losing my thought process and how I would naturally do something.
Mm-hmm. I see. Well, before we conclude here, I also want to ask this, for someone, let's just say, you were talking to I'm sure that the same way HD talked to you. For someone who is in the captive space right now, what would you tell them if they were on the fence of transitioning to the promised land?
Uh, like what would I tell them?
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. Like just do it, bro. There's a reason why you're looking outside of where you're at. We know exactly what's going on over there. And if you're tired of it and you just want to see just if you want to see something different, if you want to just like, is it true everyone keeps talking about FFL and like how they're making so much money and the contracts are more and the leads are better? Well, they are. They actually are. But because you're so wrapped up in a mental, I don't know exactly what you said earlier. Like, I don't know how we were like believing it. It's crazy. But whatever you believe in, what they're doing, and I don't know if I should say this or not, but you are being trained mentally to accept your losses by blaming yourself. Instead of blaming, the lead sources or like the comps or like all this other stuff that's actually ruining your business and stressing out your life, you're looking in the mirror telling yourself you're not good enough because you're in the wrong system. And I think that right there should be more than enough for anybody to make the switch. You're looking at yourself in the wrong way. You think you're failing, but it's really the system that's failing.
Beautiful. Now, last question here before we open up for everyone else. If everyone else starts texting their questions in the chat, that'd be great. Last guest asked question. You must ask a question for the next guest. Last guest asked, what would you tell someone to do in their first 30? Oh, no. What would be the turning point for you to get to the next? Wait, I can't even speak English. What would be the turning point for you to take your agency to the next level? That's what they asked. Answer that question.
Did Harold type that in? I'm just kidding.
No. This is the last one. Last guest we had Casey Thatcher.
I think really it's all just about my decision. I have been talking about doing that. I think it feels refreshing for me right now because I did, I managed teams for like 3 years over there. Like I was so tired of just all of that. So when I came here, I'm like, I'm just gonna produce a lot. I'm gonna see how it is. I don't want to set people up for failure because that's what I felt like I was doing over there, even though it wasn't intentional. Um, but that's definitely in the works. That's definitely coming soon. I'm excited to build an agency here because I mean I believe in what we have going on, and I think I want it to be a good leader to where I just need to show somebody how to sell, and I need to figure out like kind of how to do it. In the beginning, I didn't know anything about the lead types, but now that I do, I mean, as you guys can probably tell, I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about sales. I'm just passionate in general, and I just feel like this is a great avenue for people. So once my agency starts, popping off here, I feel like it'll be really great. So I think this was it, honestly.
Okay.
This was the turning point.
So,
So there's that.
what question would you ask the next person?
What are the key things that you've done to get you to where you are
Beautiful.
today?
Where you are. Excellent stuff. Melissa Hayfa, thank you so much for your time today. If everyone could please unmute. We're going to take questions here momentarily.
Nice.
Melissa,
Thank
Thank
you.
thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Get you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Queen
Thank you.
Hayfa.
Thank you.
excellent
It
stuff.
helped.